by several outlets is that he had no involvement in the hiring of JJ Reddick. The Athletic reports that the Lakers prioritized Anthony Davis's input into the hiring of a new coach. So, Keyshawn, do you believe LeBron had nothing to do with the hiring of JJ Reddick and that Anthony Davis had a whole lot to do with it?
What's nothing to do with, though, Skip? Like, help me understand what nothing to do. Put it in context for me.
Not involved. I don't know. That he said nothing to nobody about anything. He stayed out of it.
I can believe that he stayed out of it. I really can. But the nothing at all, no, I don't believe. Because it's just as simple as this. Hey, I like JJ. He works really good with me on my podcast, and I've got to know him over the years. And that's it. That's all he needs to say. He's LeBron James. He doesn't need to continue to keep meeting with Rob Pelinka in Jeannie Buss and Linda. He doesn't need to do any of that. All he does is says, hey, he's a good guy. I like him. And they go, okay. And that's it. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't have to be in the meetings and calling them, did you hire him yet? They already know. Just a few little soft words. I like him. He's a nice guy. And a certain look on his face. And they'll make the decision. Now, Anthony Davis, on the other hand, he could go in and have a conversation about what's our plans here because he has a longer option on his, a couple more years plus his option. And he essentially, when LeBron is gone, he'll be 3 years from now, he'll be older, right? He'll be a little bit older. But as Rachel mentioned in the last segment, 30 plus years old really isn't that old in the NBA anymore. We're not talking about 39. So his influence is probably a little stronger, right? Which is, hey, LeBron likes him. I like him too. And that's pretty much it. And then they just pin it on Anthony Davis, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with LeBron James saying, I like JJ Reddick as our coach. There's nothing wrong with it because if it goes wrong, we gonna pin it on LeBron any damn way, regardless. No, regardless. And if it goes right, guess what we gonna say? Man, LeBron is a great general manager. No matter what the case is, he can't win in this situation at all because he's LeBron James. I don't know why people have to put out there that he has had no influence or conversation, which is a damn lie. You know damn well they had a conversation with LeBron James about who they gonna hire as a coach. He wasn't sitting at Kendrick Lamar's concert not knowing that JJ Reddick wasn't getting ready to be hired.
Oh, yeah. Look, if you look at those reports, you're absolutely right. The headline is he wasn't involved. But the second sentence after that, in every single one, is clarifying he wasn't involved in talking to the Lakers front office directly. No. And I actually do. I do believe that that's true. I do believe that he didn't go in and say anything to Jeannie or to Rob Pelinka.
I don't need to.
But being involved can come in a lot of different ways.
Exactly.
And here is what we know. We know that when Dan Hurley was a candidate for the job, he and LeBron started exchanging text messages. In fact, Dan was kind of excited to talk about it when he spoke to Colin Cowherd. He was like, LeBron's texting me all of a sudden. And he described how LeBron was talking to him about the team, about what they might do on the court, specifics, things about how the next season would go. You're going to tell me if he's doing that with Dan Hurley, who he clearly had never texted before, given Dan's reaction, that he isn't also doing that with JJ Reddick, who he's had a podcast with and I'm sure texts all the time? Come on. That is what's impossible to me. So I buy that he didn't talk to the front office.
Absolutely.
Because he kind of didn't need to.
Don't need
and
to.
I do buy that he was involved because I think there's other ways to get involved. Now, that being said, I think the smartest thing the Lakers have done in this entire coaching search, which has been very uneven, is prioritize Anthony Davis. They had Anthony talk to JJ on the phone before they officially made the hire. And look at Anthony Davis. It's not just that he's going to be around longer. I really believe that Anthony Davis has not reached his true potential yet. He is a 9-time All-Star. He is obviously super accomplished. He will go down. He's got a championship. He'll go down in history as a great player. But I think he has a higher ceiling than we've seen so far. And I think JJ Reddick will be an excellent X's and O's analytical coach who can put him in those situations. And especially late in games, I think that under JJ, we will see more out of Anthony Davis, which has to happen if you're a Lakers fan because LeBron is getting older. And the best thing for the Lakers is if AD becomes the true #1 option on this team. So I think that has been the smartest thing they've done. I don't buy LeBron wasn't involved, but I do buy that he probably didn't talk to the front office.
I like you.
Yeah.
Why do I need to have a conversation?
And look, if he didn't like JJ, that meant as head coach, even if he was like, Rich Paul said at one point, just because he has a podcast with him doesn't mean he wants him to be a head coach. Yeah, but he never signaled to the front office that he didn't want him.
Exactly. So that's saying yes.
So, question. Do you think JJ Reddick would be the new head coach of the Lakers if he didn't have a podcast with LeBron James?
I do not.
I do. I'm with you.
I do not.
I think that was crucial to all of the above.
But no. Okay, so let me back this up. Let me.
Oh, so you're saying the other way?
Let me rephrase this. The podcast has nothing to do with him being hired as the Lakers head coach. What the podcast has done is opened up our eyes to see their relationship.
That's it.
But it didn't have to happen that way, because if LeBron James said, hey, I like Rachel Nichols to be our head coach because
that would be inspired, actually.
we hang out together.
I think
they're going to hire who LeBron says.
Somebody missed a bet on that.
They're going to hire who LeBron says hire, period. They're not going to go against him.
Okay, so to your point, he's LeBron bleeping James. He's the leading scorer in the history of this game. He's earned the right to at least sign off on if you get to the finish line and you say, we're about to, are you okay with this? I mean, yeah.
But they're not even going to go down that road to get to the finish line without discussing it.
You have to.
They're not.
You'd be insane if you didn't. And yet, to your first point about, a little comment here or there, I like him, that kind of thing. Okay, that's classic what Brian Windhorst has called from the start, LeBron's passive-aggressive sort of leadership, where you just kind of say, well, yeah, I would,
Skip.
it'd be okay, I'd like him, Yeah, okay, right?
That's the way it happens in life in general.
No,
Think about it.
I will say that is his leadership style. It doesn't mean that it's bad.
It's great.
There are people who do better when they're not out front making the decisions. And he is always more of the pulling strings guy, sort of the tweets to the front office around the trade deadline,
Absolutely.
all of that stuff.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But there's no doubt that that's what it is.
Yeah, you simply drop a few little breadcrumbs with a smile, and you say, if you're smart enough, you'll pick it up. That's it.
Is LeBron a little beaten up over the fact that, to your point, everything that goes wrong, they say, well, it's your fault. So did he want a little bit of plausible deniability here where he could at least say, well, don't blame me because it blew up in everybody's face? And yet, I wish, and maybe now that it's done, the team needs him to publicly embrace JJ now, to come full force with lots of big quotes about how this will work. They don't need
it right now. They need it when it starts to work.
Well, but pretty
because
soon
if you do it now, Skip, and it does not work, guess what happens? He now gets all of the negativity because he will have come out and blessed
but you already said he'd get it anyway.
But he doesn't see it that way. He wants to, as you said, plausible denial. He wants to sit back and see it unfold. Once it unfolds, then you'll come out and, hey, everything's all good.
Well, it's going to come up before then, though, Keyshawn, because first of all, I don't expect him to publicly sign off on him right now because LeBron is holding his leverage that he might not be with this team next year. By the way, we'll talk about that. I agree with you. But it's still something the Lakers front office has to worry about. And then we get to July 5th. That is the start of Team USA training camp. And that is going to be interesting because LeBron will be in front of a bunch of microphones, and then we'll know what he really thinks.
Do you think LeBron will show up at JJ's introductory press conference here in LA?
Yeah. They always show up. I've seen them always go to the head coach's press conferences.
Speak? What do you think?
He doesn't normally speak.
No, but they always show up, though. He always, because he's there working out and stuff like that. Yeah, I almost feel a guarantee that he will be at the press conference.
Okay.
I don't know if it's before he officially opts out or something.
Oh, that's another.
It is before.
I mean, you expect them to formally introduce JJ Reddick before the draft, and the draft is before LeBron's opt-out. So I just...
Okay, good point.
That's true, too. I didn't think about that.
Okay, now back to Anthony Davis. This is just me from a distance, and you know him much better, but I'm just sort of reading tea leaves along the trail. To me, Anthony is more of a follower than a leader, and he looks up to LeBron the way very few players have ever looked up to any other player, where he's always been in awe of him. He is his big brother. He is his mentor. He is the leader of AD. And so you can't tell me that through this channel that LeBron hasn't told AD, hey,
Go out there and do this.
yeah, you do this because it's going to be your team pretty soon. You know, I'm getting up there, but you need to bless him because trust me, he can work. You know, that would be the kind of conversation they would have. So it's almost like a back channel. It's through AD.
See, I think AD's smart enough, though. He doesn't need LeBron to tell him